It's Jack. I wasn't sure we were on. I don't do this that often. You know that, but welcome to either Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or wherever you're watching this. It's World Cocktail Day. So that means let's have a drink together. I'm drinking a mule, by the way. What do you have? Love that stuff. You know, it's funny because after Amy Hull has a dark and stormy, cheers, Amy. You know, it's funny. I did this show called Booze Traveler on Travel Channel, if you're not familiar with that. And every year I was probably busy filming on World Cocktail Day, and I always thought of it. And I thought it'd be great to go somewhere and meet either fans of the show or friends or strangers, doesn't matter, locals, and celebrate it. But we're always filming. And because it doesn't broadcast on World Cocktail Day, I couldn't film it and say it's World Cocktail. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But now I get to do that with you, with a drink from, as you can see up there, where is it? Up there, Jack's Place. So this is Jack's Place, but it's World Cocktail Day, and I want to hear from you. Presumably you know me from the show. If not, that's okay too. Maybe from Belly Up or the High Road coming up starting Friday, all these other things. But mostly, I'm sure, Booze Traveler. So tell me about your drinks, what you like to drink, who you like to drink it with, where you like to travel, because it was Booze Traveler. I went to somewhere between 50 and 60 countries, 6 continents. And as I like to say, we didn't go to Antarctica. That was the only continent because penguins don't make moonshine. But when they do, we'll be there. Trey's drinking scotch. Good stuff, Trey. You know, I do this show called Belly Up that's on my YouTube channel as well. And I have a drink and we do trivia. And it's fun seeing people trying to answer trivia questions when they've been drinking. It's a blast. But I have a mule about 1/3 of the time. I like this stuff. Rum and cream soda. Wow, I've never had that. I've had them separately, of course. I bet that tastes good. Kristen, having a glass of wine. Oh, thank you very much. That's nice. Not the wine, the other part. That's nice. Beer here. Mark Lipscomb. Okay, Lipscomb. Sorry, I screwed up your last name. I haven't been drinking that much. And also, I have this thing coming up Friday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, called The High Road. As you probably know if you follow me on social media, I've been doing this show for a while, and we were trying to find a home for it. We decided during lockdown, because everyone's at home and hopefully wanting some content, we're going to start airing it starting Friday night in little bits, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-minute segments. We're not sure yet. But the good thing is I'll be doing this as well right before the show. So 8:45 Eastern, 5:45 Pacific, Friday night. I'll be doing another Q&A specifically about the High Road. Then the show, then a post-show interview with one of the guests from the show. So it's a lot of content there for you to check out and then ask me questions about anything, though. It doesn't have to be the High Road, including right now. You can ask me anything about that. Whiskey and ginger ale, I've done that. I had a Ryan ginger the other day because a friend of mine who's no longer with us, he liked that. Suntory whiskey on a trip to Japan. Yes. I was very surprised when I went to Suntory and how great it was, because they make whiskey, of course. You can't call it scotch unless it's made in Scotland, really. I suppose you can call anything, but you know what I mean. But they won Best Single Malt, which was amazing. That's like a guy from Scotland winning Best Sushi Chef. I couldn't believe it, but good for them. And it was great stuff. I like some Suntory. Polish potato vodka and soda, says Susan McKinney. Have I been to Warsaw? I have not. Of all the episodes we did of Booze Traveler, and I'm thinking between that and Best Bars, probably how many we did? 73 episodes, I believe. Never made it to Poland. I know that was on the list. Eventually we would have gotten there, but we didn't. So, of course, potato vodka, you can have that in a lot of places, but in Poland, they have other drinks, too. I wonder what else you're drinking when you go to Poland. An old-fashioned? Sure. Now, that's a funny thing about the old-fashioned. Old-fashioned what? People like to say old-fashioned, but there's a lot of ways of making that a cocktail. Old-fashioned rum, old-fashioned with rye, with whatever. People really, that's a beautiful thing about cocktails. They have been able to experiment. What used to be a set box for a cocktail is not that anymore. Take the martini, for instance. Used to be a gin martini. Now people like vodka martinis. Some people hate that. Some people say that's like putting pineapple on a pizza, which I agree with. I don't like pineapple on a pizza. But if you do, you should have it. just like a martini. If you want to use vodka for the martini or gin, or great. Old-fashioned, you make it your way. Although there has to be a standard, of course, about what is in a cocktail. Otherwise, who knows? My husband is having a traditional Negroni, although it says Negroni. Are you trying to see if I'm paying attention? Negroni. Yes, we went to Florence, where the Negroni was discovered or founded or created. How would you say that? And that was wonderful. And I remember this guy, he was dressed up as Leonardo da Vinci. And we were all talking about the competition people from Florence have with other people. And they have a saying, he said in Italian, I'll never remember. They said, it translated to, better that someone in your family should die, that a guy from Milan will knock on your door and bother you at home. How funny is that? Milan, it's still Italy. And they said the only thing that brings Italy together is the World Cup. Then they're all on the same side. Other than that, they're fighting constantly. Like Spain, 17 different regions. You know, here in the States, for the most part, I think we say we're Americans first, as opposed to we're Floridians or we're Arizonans. In Spain, it's about the region first before they say Spaniards. At least when I was there, that's what they told me. I just watched Booze Traveler and then Belly Up, said Mike McGrath. Are you trying to get on my good side? Thank you for watching both of those. Not that, you know, I don't even know where Booze Traveler is on anymore. I guess it's on the Travel Channel website and some streaming services. But Belly Up, which is a trivia show that I do, is on my YouTube channel. So right now, if you're on my Facebook channel or Facebook Live, I guess, not my Facebook channel, now would be the time to go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, because all of these things eventually will live only there, including High Road and the post-show interview. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll get all the and turn on the notifications. You'll get notified about everything I'm doing. Please give a rundown on Landi and Rotten Shark. Yes. Well, Landi was this really unbelievably strong moonshine. Now, you would think just by saying moonshine, it's going to be strong. But it was so powerful, I guess, to keep you warm. As you remember from that episode, for those who have seen it, for those who haven't, I'll try to explain at the same time. I went to Iceland, and we went cod fishing with this gentleman who's a commercial cod fisher, but he had great personality, oversized personality, really great guy. And he had some Landi on the ship while we were out there, or the boat, but it's really big, while we were trying to catch some cod. And it was, so strong. I thought, I wouldn't drink this voluntarily until I had Hakkarl, which is rotten shark. So what they do is, back in the day, in Iceland, it was very difficult to survive. So they'd have to eat anything they caught or anything that washed ashore, and all parts of it. So a shark doesn't have kidneys. So the urea that they expel has to get rendered through the skin. And that takes a while, especially once it's dead. So they hang it in a shed and let all that just keep processing. Probably 6 to 8 weeks is what they told me. So a couple of weeks in, we go into this shed and take some of this rotten shark, and it was by far the worst thing I've ever had, ever. Not even close. And the consistency was like a hockey puck, maybe a little bit softer than that. So you couldn't just swallow it right away. You'd have to chew it. And I thought, where's that Landi? I want that moonshine. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of shark. I don't think all of that made it onto the show, certainly. But the guy kept challenging me. And if you watch that show, you know I'm always up for a challenge. So I had the first piece. Then he said, if you have a second piece, I'll give you a sticker saying I had 2 pieces. Then he said, no one's ever had 3 pieces before. You want to do 3 pieces? I'll make you a cod dinner. And I said, great. So give me the third piece. And my stomach was revolting against that thing. What are you sending down here? And then after the third one, and my face was purple and contorted, I said, give me one more, because I know before he challenged me, I wanted to do it. So I had 4. According to him, I'm the only one in the history of anybody he's known that had 4. From outside, he eats it like it's candy. I can't believe it. So that's the rundown, Joe, on Landi and Carl, Rotten Shark. What's the strangest cocktail you've ever had? Well, that's odd, because what do you mean by strange? Is it horrible, like the worst thing I've ever had, or the most out there, the rarest? Because I had $600 and something thousand scotch in Scotland. A 6-liter decanter went for, I think, $660 something thousand, and I had a bit of that. That would be strange in that it's rare, but strange, like, for instance, when I go somewhere, I can't pretend. It's not about pretending. I can't act as if anything's strange, because it's different, but the whole place is different. So I can't then offend that culture and say, you have such a strange cocktail. You see, if they're willing to share their food and their friends and their family and their time with me, they present this drink and I say, oh, that's too strange. That's too weird. Although I did tell them I've never had this before, or wow, I can't believe it's this, or what's in there. But usually when someone says, what's the strangest cocktail you've ever had, it means what's the grossest or worst or hardest to drink. And I'll tell you a few of them, and then you guys vote. You let me know in the comment section what you think is the worst. And I'll do this quick. Frog in a blender in Peru. I think we have a picture of that somewhere. I'm smiling with a glass of green stuff in my hand. So in Peru, they take a frog, they slit the throat, take the skin off, put in some tree root and moonshine and a couple of herbs, and you drink that right down, a whole frog, blend it up. And then no picture? No cutaway? Okay, good. Then after that, spit beer in the Amazon. All the women of the tribe get together. They chew up this potato-like root and spit it, and then it ferments over time. And then you drink that. I had that. And as you know, I try to have fun while I'm doing this. So with the frog while I was drinking, I said, yeah, you can really taste the hops. And, you know, because I didn't know what to say. I'm trying to, I guess, you know, I have to lighten it up, because it was really strange to drink that, knowing the frog was just alive. And then the spit beer, you know, it's not that strong, but knowing that you're drinking a whole village worth of spit, you know, but you don't have to worry about the backwash. So that's good, I suppose. Cow blood, we have that picture. I know that with the warriors in Tanzania. I drank cow blood mixed with honey wine. That who's helping me with this, and he has some pictures, but maybe he can't pull them up. That's okay. So that's 3 of them. The 4th one, cow urine in India, because it's a hangover cure. And then that's a whole other category. All the hangover cures that I've had that are supposed to be like rooster's testicles or bull's penis or crazy fish dishes or stuff in Armenia. Oh, there it is. There's the picture. That's me in Tanzania with the Maasai. And I got blood all over my hands because it's dripping all over the cup and everything. That's cow blood with honey wine. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments what you think is the strangest drink of those 4. Someone just said, tell me about the high road. So I was doing Boost Traveler. Then I get non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Then I have to go into chemo. Then the show ends. Not because I'm in chemo. Travel Channel didn't do anything wrong or bad, or they didn't abandon me. They supported me through the whole process. They just went in a different direction. As you know, Travel Channel has different kind of programming now. If it's travel related, it has a lot to do with the paranormal world, let's say. And that's great. Every network has a responsibility to put the programming on that they think will get the most eyeballs. And that's what they did. And mine wasn't the only show that they pulled. There's other ones as well. So no hard feelings against Travel Channel at all. I thank them for a great 4 years and a lifetime of memories for sure. But while I was undergoing chemo, there were some side effects, but for the most part, I handled it really well. I didn't lose my hair. They said I would. They said I was going to get sick, so I bought an adjustable bed because I thought I'd have to sleep sitting up. Not the case. I didn't get sick once, but I did prepare myself for the chemo. I really did a lot of work on my soul and my spirit, my mind. I got headphones with relaxing music and had an eye mask and put myself in a certain zone. As you know, I was an actor for 25 years before I started hosting, and I still do a bit of both. But it's like creating a character. I just put myself in a certain place to be the most relaxed and peaceful that I could be, and to accept the chemo into my body, to accept it as a healing property, and then to wash it out and get rid of it once it does its job. So that really helped me, because I don't know if you know, but a chemo room is like a big mani-pedi salon. Everyone's facing each other, but unlike getting your nails done or your toes done, people wake up crying, sometimes screaming, because they're in so much pain, either from the cancer or from the treatment. So one of the things that I did suffer from, I couldn't sleep at night. There was blinding white flashes in my eyes. And someone suggested CBD, and that's what the high road, that's where it started. And I tried CBD, then CBD combined with THC and a tincture, and it helped. It helped with the numbing of my fingers. All these here, it's all numb at the last inch or so of every finger. And then I couldn't sleep at night because of the bright flashes when I closed my eyes. So I tried CBD, and it worked. And I said, there's got to be other people with similar stories, because I wasn't a cannabis user before that. As you know, if you follow me, it's because my father was a horrendous drug addict. So I thought I might have a genetic predisposition or weakness towards that. So I decided I would try to stay away from that, to not turn into my father. You know how that goes. And then as you get older, you realize you're not, and you start moderating things. And a little bit of this is okay, a little bit of that. But I just wasn't a big cannabis person. But I knew just from being alive and being aware that we were lied to, really, about the origins of why it was prohibited. And it was a racial thing. It was an economic thing. And so when I started using it and it helped, I got all these stories from people that I reached out to that, hey, it helped me for this. It helped me for that. I was against it. I'm from a red state. I'm an elderly person. My dog, I gave it to. All these wonderful stories and the business of it. So it's about the business, the legal side, the political side, the personal side, the medical side, the spiritual side. So we covered all on the high road. And it all starts Friday night on my YouTube channel, 9 Eastern, 8:45 Eastern, because I'll do a Q&A with you guys right before the show, and then a post-show interview with one of the guests from it. So 8:45 Eastern Friday, or 5:45 Pacific, the high road. And it's all about America's changing perceptions about cannabis, and how a lot of people are getting help from it, and how others are still against it, would never try it no matter what, and all of that. It's really, I think it's very interesting. It was interesting for me anyway. The funniest booze travel, when Jack had to eat the grub. What went through your mind when they offered you some grub that morning? Yes, Keith. So I was in New Zealand, and I was with a wonderful guy who took me out into the woods, and they found, how big is that? At least, maybe it was an inch or two long, this hoo-hoo grub. And it was thick. It wasn't just like a worm sized. It looked like a fat Cheeto, maybe even bigger than that, like a peanut. You know those candy peanuts, marshmallow things? Anyway, I see it moving along the tree, and he says, you have to eat that. I said, we're going to cook it? Don't you fry it? Anything? Can I wash it down? Like the rotten shark, wash it down with Landy? No. So I ate it. I put it in my mouth. And as soon as I crunched down, it just exploded in my mouth. It was so full of water and juice. It was the strangest sensation. But because I was their guest, and they suggested this, as a lot of cultures do, as a rite of passage for you to come to them, and you want to be a part of their world, they often throw you a challenge, whether it's a food or drink or sports or whatever. And, I've played some sports here and there growing up pretty much. So I had some hand-eye coordination. That was never a problem, playing their sports, even if I had never done it before. It's mostly about hand-eye or, throwing, kicking, running, doing something. But the food, then, I can safely say I never had a hoo-hoo grub before. And some of the drinks really blew my mind. But again, if I'm there, I'm going to drink it. And I'm going to do the activities that they ask me to do, because never once, and I said this to the crew, we cannot ever go there and be known as the ugly Americans, because that is a real thing. Now, I'm sure we're not the only culture that offends other cultures, but for us, we weren't going to do it, because the whole show was a celebration of life, of culture, of people, of traditions, and of course, what people drank and why they drank it. And then these great stories they told when they did drink it. enjoying some Breckenridge bourbon. What are a couple of your favorite bourbons? That's so funny about bourbon. I was at a restaurant in Las Vegas, and they were having a little meeting. So they had all the employees, they had bartenders, they had a couple of chefs, and they had a liquor rep there. And he asked the whole room, what's the difference between bourbon and whiskey? Now, I knew the answer. For it to be a bourbon, has to be more than 50% corn, made from corn. And nobody, not one person in that, even the bartenders, even the manager of the restaurant, didn't know that bourbon is made from corn. And generally, it's because of that, a little sweeter than whiskey, certainly sweeter than rye. And so for me, I was never a big bourbon drinker, but there are so many really wonderful bourbons. Whenever I say, well, I like this, I like that, I like that, other ones are saying, sure, yeah, because they pay you to say that. Or, oh, no, I disagree. How can you like that one? It's always folly for me to say I like this brand or that brand. And I don't represent anyone. Purposely, I never took $1 from any brand of alcohol while doing Booze Traveler for any reason, even personally. On the side, I know the show never did, because we wanted to be pure about it. We wanted to be a true experience. If I like something, it's because I did. If I say I don't, it's because I don't. Never once were we bought and paid for on that show. And I have not been. I've never aligned myself with that. I had a podcast that a mezcal company that I liked, by the way. They sponsored part of the podcast, but even then, I love mezcals. But so bourbons, that's tricky. There's a lot of good ones. Whatever you like, you like. I mean, cocktails are my thing. I could tell you some good cocktails I make with it, though. Any hangover cures that work? Shelley Lloyd says or asks. Wow, I know that people are out there drinking and getting wrecked, just bombed out of their gourds, and they swear by certain hangover cures. So if that works, it works. A lot of time, it's if you think it works, right? It's has this placebo effect. For me, you hurt yourself. It's not going to go away magically. That's like saying, boom, you got a black eye. What's a cure for a black eye? Time, really, because you've hurt yourself. Ice, rest, and I'm sure other things, aspirin or something like that. For me, when I'm drinking, if I think I'm going to tie one on, I drink a lot of water throughout the night to help me with that. Then before I go to bed, I take a combination, and I'm talking about if I have to be up and at 'em the next day, and I really hurt myself, like I did in Japan with the sumo wrestlers, because they wouldn't let me stop drinking sake even after the camera stopped rolling. Vitamin B and C before I go to bed, or some kind of package of powdered vitamin C or something like that with electrolytes, because that's the key, because you hurt yourself with that. Try to get plenty of sleep, a lot of water right before you go to bed. You'll be peeing all night maybe, but it's worth it. And then in the morning, water, more electrolytes, fresh fruit like a nice orange or ice cold orange juice, and a big fatty breakfast. Make yourself feel better. And maybe ice if your head's hurting that bad, but and maybe a couple aspirin. But for me, you can only mitigate it. You can't really cure it in my mind. Not that I've found yet anyway, but if you have something, let me know. What's a good bar to visit where you're from? Wow, I mean, Boston's a big city. If you talk about my little neighborhood of South Boston, I used to shine shoes as a little kid up and down West Broadway, and I grew up in the D Street projects, which butt right up to they butt up right up against Broadway, and so I'd go there with my shoe shine box, and all the bars, Triple O's and the Car Stop, and all these other ones. Somehow my Boston accent just came out. They've all changed, or a lot of them have changed for sure. But one that is still there, it's a little further up the street on L and 8th, is the L Street Tavern. And it just happens to be owned by a guy I went to school with, Jackie Woods. First through sixth grade, we went to St. Peter's together. And he got the bar. And then the producers of this movie came to him and said, hey, we want to use your bar for a movie. Oh, yeah, really? What's the movie going to be called? Good Will Hunting. So good for him, right? The bar became very famous, but they fixed it. It doesn't look like it does in the movie now. It's nice, still small, still quaint, still a neighborhood bar. But if you're looking for that true experience of an Irish bar in Southie, I'd say that place. And I haven't talked to Jackie in I don't know how long, so he didn't ask me to say that. It's just how I feel. Just like with the alcohol, I don't sell out with that either. If I like it, you'll know. I'll be honest with you. You spend any time in Oaxaca drinking the amazing mezcal, my thing right here. Oh, like I just said, I love mezcal. It's smoky, the way they roast the piñas, and it's artisanal, it's handmade. To me, it's better than tequila, for sure. I think it's more versatile, even though it has this smokiness. It doesn't have the bite of this thing. It has some of the grassy notes, but to me, it's just a better liquor than tequila. Or maybe it's just a phase I'm going through. But Oaxaca makes, depending on who you talk to, 80 to 90% of the mezcal in the world, or Mexico for sure. So, excuse me. So yes, we drank the mezcal there. If you watch Booze Traveler Mexico, you'll see that whole experience. Kind of fun because it was made in the backwoods. We had to cross a river, and they threw jackets over our heads, but we had one cameraman filming it because it was a secret location. And there's one particular brand they run at that location. They run over a rabbit to get the soul of the rabbit in there. Really fascinating. That's what I love about drinks around the world. So much history and culture are in these drinks. And mostly, I would say my experience was they didn't drink to get hammered. It wasn't about that. Some people do, of course, but it was so ceremonial. They drank to get in touch with their ancestors, with their spirits, who they are and who they were, where they come from. So it's alcohol is much more revered around the world than it is in the States, for the most part. And I guess because cultures are more homogenous in other places, here we're a melting pot, and I'm proud of that, and that's wonderful. But we just don't have that long-term, hundreds and thousands of years tradition with alcohol. Maybe one day we will, but right now, however you drink it, for whatever reason, cheers to you on World Cocktail Day. What's my favorite bar in Phoenix/Scottsdale? Well, that's easy for me because I had a wonderful experience soon as I went in there. So a friend of mine, Ken Coburn, he's my tech guy doing this for me right now, but he's my friend. He's very nicely doing this for me, the tech part of this. He brought me to a place called the Breadfruit and Rum Bar. And they have all these wonderful rums of the Caribbean, Jamaican rums, and the food is great. Danielle Leone is the award-winning chef there. And Dwayne is the guy that handles the alcohol side of that. And it's just a great place. I don't go for big, loud clubs and all of that. I go for a place where I can talk to someone, enjoy a good drink, have fun with it. The bartenders are knowledgeable. The place doesn't have to be super fancy, although this place is nice. But they have great food and great drinks. And as a matter of fact, when Samantha Brown came to Phoenix and she asked me to be on her episode, which I was very honored to do so, she said, "Where do you like to go?" And we shot at the Breadfruit. And she loved it. It's a really great place. So that's my favorite place here in Phoenix and Scottsdale, although I have many. We just don't have time to go over all of them. When traveling, what's the best/easiest way to strike up conversation with locals and make friends, says Chelsea Torres, or asks Chelsea Torres. Well, doing what you just did. I'm a stranger to you. Presumably, we've never met. You reached across the aisle, so to speak. In this case, the medium of wherever you are across this internet thing that we're on, and ask me a question. That's the best way, is to put yourself out there, especially when you're traveling. You don't know everything about everything. So talk to the locals. Just say, "Hi, what do you like to do around here? I'm new." Like you would your first day of school. Although when you're a kid, there are other dynamics going on, I suppose. But you go somewhere and say, "Hey, what should we do? Where's a good place to eat or drink? Or tell me about this little village or this town," or whatever. Because most people are so proud to be where they're from, where they are now, and they want to share experiences with you. Some people tell you, "Scram, I have no time to tell you that." Okay, that's fine. But other than being in New York City, no, I'm just kidding. They do that in other places too. But to me, when I travel, I have a couple of rules. I don't make too many plans because I don't want to come home exhausted from trying to squeeze it all in. I want the experience that stays with me. And that comes from speaking to people, Like I've said many times before, maybe you're hearing this for the first time from me, though. It's never about the mountains and the monuments and the places, the museums, all of that. No, it's the people I've met. And I only know that because coming back to the States, they'd ask me, oh, you just did another episode. Tell me about it. And it was always about the people I met. And, of course, the drinks. But the drinks given to me by people and the times we had when we were drinking together. That's it. So I don't make too many plans when I'm on vacation, whether I'm shooting or not. Of course, we have to have a lot of plans tightly in there because when we shoot, we're very busy, long days, long hours, and almost every day of the week. But if I'm traveling on my own or on my day off shooting something around the world, I'll make sure I just stroll on foot and talk to people, talk to locals, go down an alley, although not a dark one necessarily. I was speaking to someone in Italy. We were in Corleone, just like from The Godfather, and they're very suspicious there for a lot of reasons. In Sicily, you know, it's been conquered by so many different nations and countries, but in Corleone, they're upset mostly, at least my experience, my short time there, upset because of what the movie did. It made them seem like a mobbed up town. And I don't know if they are or not, but I got one lady to talk to me. She was sticking her head out the window from the second floor and just enjoying the fresh air. And she started speaking. She spoke a little bit of English, but I just loved that experience, speaking to locals wherever I am. Not the touristy thing, not riding buses and looking at star maps and who lives here and whatever. Sure, I like the historical stuff, going to a castle, finding out something about it, who stormed it, when they got it back. Beaches, they're beautiful. But to me, anything wonderful in this life, on this earth, is best when it's shared. And that only comes from being in the moment and really understanding that this moment, without getting too existential on it, this moment is all we have. The past is just that. It's a memory. It's a sometimes a fuzzy memory. And what's the future? A hope, a dream, a fear, an expectation. This moment, have it, enjoy it, because you'll never have it again. That's it. So for that, I toast to you on this World Cocktail Day. I'm sorry I didn't get to all your questions. We'll do this again sometime. Thank you for being with me. And again, this Friday night, it'll be all about the high road. 8:45 Eastern, 5:45 Pacific, only on my YouTube channel and on the High Road YouTube channel. I'll be doing a Facebook Live Q&A, then the show, which is a short segment. And then we do an interview with one of the guests. So I hope you'll join me. Hope you'll have some questions ready for me then, too. I'll try to get to more of them, I promise. But in the meantime, I couldn't let this World Cocktail Day go by without saying thank you for making what I did on Booze Traveler possible. Without you watching the show and supporting it and saying how much you loved it, I did it for 4 years. And it's only because of you. The network, sure, they backed it. They paid for it. The production company, Carga 7, did a great job with it. The crew worked hard, but it's because of you it was successful. So thank you so much. Cheers. We'll see you next time.